Hi everyone, this is Melanie from Counting Crafty Sheep, and I'm going to show you how to make Plarn or plastic yarn using grocery bags. So this ends up being a really great material to make all sorts of great fun utilitarian things. You can check out my pattern for the companion's crossbody that when you leave off the shoulder strap is an excellent bag for going to the grocery store or just to take, anywhere where you want something that you don't really mind getting a little bit messy. It's really easy to clean when it's a finished product, which makes it excellent for producing sleeping mats for homeless shelters and those kinds of places. You can also make baskets and outdoor cushions, all sorts of stuff. Really, the possibilities are endless, and this is really a simple, quick process. So pretty much what you need is a clean plastic bag. It can be a grocery size bag like this one, or I've used bags from all sorts of different stores, and no matter what size your bag is, the process is pretty much the same. So you're going to start by flattening out your bag so that the edges are, pressed in and you're seeing it just like this. So the first thing you are going to want to do is remove the handles and the bottom. And I like to keep my scraps separate so that I can recycle them later. So just keep that in mind. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the edge of the bag, and this is not something that requires any level of precision, by the way. So just start folding it over in strips, like so. Maybe about an inch if you really need a guideline is what I'm doing. But this is something that's a great project, to do for club gatherings with kids. Just be careful with the scissors. So we folded this so it's roughly inch and a half. We're just going to take our scissors, we're going to trim the handles, and we're going to trim off the bottom seam of the bag. Okay, and like I said, I set those aside. I take them and recycle them at the grocery store like you would do with bags if you weren't going to be turning them into Plarn. So then again, just kind of eyeballing it, I'm going to take then this tube I've just created, and I'm going to cut it into about inch and a half strips. I wouldn't go any narrower than that, simply because then your Plarn isn't going to be as durable, and as you work with it, it'll be more likely to break, which isn't a big deal. You can always just tie it back together, but it's just a little easier. And see, they don't have to all be exactly the same size. You want to be close. Otherwise, you're going to end up with yarn that's got a bit of a different weight to it throughout. Again, though, this isn't something, precision. And you can make balls of Plarn that are coordinated by colors. So I've got all white bags here, I've got all brown bags here. You can really do whatever you want with it. You can make a nice variegated yarn by just mixing them up and not having really any sort of method to your madness, so to speak. So once you've got your what you've done is you've made these loops here. You've got these plastic strips now that have been turned into loops. How many loops you can get per bag totally depends on the size of the bag, how what size you cut them. It varies, so you're gonna have to do a little bit of guessing and testing. Usually with a pattern, I'll give a bag estimate for how many it needs. You need quite a few. You're going to be shocked at how many bags you can go through, and that's one of the things I want people to think about when they're making Plarn. When you go shopping, the goal should not be to get enough plastic bags to be able to come home and do a Plarn making project. Really, one of the things I love about this is it helps you kind of reflect on how many plastic bags you can actually go through and how many it takes to do one of these projects. And it's really great to just kind of get into that mindset of, wow, if I'm not being conscious of this, this is really how many bags I'm bringing back. And if I'm not recycling them or using them for something, they're making their way into the landfill, and regardless of what I do with them, they exist. Even once you make them into Plarn, you have to remember that when these items come to the end of their lifespan, you need to find a way to dispose of them properly, because all of this plastic, you know, it stays in the environment. And if you're lucky enough to have stores that, you know, recycle bags to make more bags, that's great. But just keep that in mind. You know, this is something that you can do if you have a stockpile of bags, but by no means should you be going to the grocery store trying to get more plastic bags in order to do this. And you know, you can use things other than plastic bags. You can use old shirts to make t-shirt yarn. I'll do another tutorial on that. My mom actually pulls binder twine from hay bales that would normally be going in the garbage, and she uses those to make baskets. So, you know, this is just a quick tool that you can use to, you know, reduce waste and extend the life of some of these things that would otherwise be going straight into landfills. But, you know, keep in mind and really reflect on how much plastic we're actually taking from the grocery store and from shopping, and, you know, see if you can find ways to reduce that by reusing bags, using, you know, cloth bags, things of that nature. So once you have your loops, you need to start to connect them. Okay, so all you're going to be doing is taking 2 loops and passing one through the other, and then you pull gently. Now you want to kind of make sure you're pulling them so that it comes out even, because if you pull too fast, it could get bunched up right here, and then your sides here are not uniform. I'll see if I can do that on purpose to just sort of show you what it looks like when that happens. So, and then you can just keep going once you've started your strands. So if you pull too fast, you know, you're gonna end up essentially with one side like this. So you just want to go a little bit slow. If that happens, it's not a big deal. The great thing about working with Plarn is it's really something you can, you know, stretch to make even. You can break it and just tie it back together. It's not something that's going to look perfect. So you can really just kind of fix it up however you need to have it be usable for your project. All right. So out of this bag, I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, see here, I did it without even realizing it. I got this one a little funky. So I believe I've got about 7 strands here. So all I'm going to do to fix this, I'm just going to break it, and then I'm going to tie it back together just so that it's not as uneven. There, that's better. All right. And now that I've got my long strand here, I'm going to just start balling it up like you would any other ball of yarn. I just kind of wind them around. And you can hide those ends when you start using it. I like to hide my ends every time I'm, you know, crocheting, knitting, as I go as much as possible. So you can do the same with those ends that you tie back together with this Plarn. All right, so now I've got this little ball of Plarn here, and I mean, you can see how this isn't that many bags. You know, this was 1 bag. So you can see how quickly it'll look like a lot, but it's really not. It goes very quickly. So you really do need a lot of bags. To do a 3x6 sleeping mat, you're gonna need, you know, a few hundred bags, which sounds insane, but, and then the even more insane thing is when you start trying to find those bags and you realize, holy cow, that wasn't that difficult for me to do. It really helps you start thinking about the number, just the sheer number of plastic bags that we use on a regular basis. But to connect 2 of these, it's actually really simple, so that you don't have to have this behemoth yarn ball. You can keep them, at a manageable size, and then just join them together as you're working. So really all you need to do is just you've got the 2 yarn balls here, you've got a loop and another loop, and just hook them together like so. See, all I've done is just put 1 loop inside the other. I've got the other end, and then you just pull it through. And now they're joined. And you can do that before you put it into a yarn ball, or you can unravel it. You can do this however you like. It's, I always say do what works for you. And then you just roll it up and you're ready to go. You're gonna wanna use a large crochet hook. If you're crocheting, you can also weave with this. You can do so many things. But that is my quick tutorial on how to make Plarn. And like I said, just remember to reflect on how much plastic it takes to do this, and try and find ways that you can upcycle and reuse, and cut down on the number of plastic bags that are just coming out into the world. All right, stay crafty.